Hello, everyone. My name is Pedro Diaz, and I'm here with Shadi Torbey. Shadi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Shadi, as you just said, Shadi Torbey. I'm living in Brussels with my wife and two daughters, and I have been designing games for more than 10 years now. My real job is opera singer. I wouldn't say it's my day job because usually you have concerts in the evening, but yeah, so yeah, that's the...
Nice. So recently you have announced that you're starting your own company called inPatience. What was the background decision for this?
It's a very old background, actually. I tried. Oops, sorry. Okay. No, I thought I had done something with my computer. I'm going to put the keyboard away so I don't interfere. I started designing game earlier. I think I started around 2004 or something like this. But I was never happy with the results, and I think around 2008, I had the prototype of Onirim, and I had lots of fun playing it. And when I made a test to some people, they also had fun. So I thought, okay, maybe this should be worth publishing. I never thought this of my previous prototype. So, I had the comparison, what it is to do a bad game, and what is it to do maybe a game that is not so bad. And so I was thinking I'm going to do a small publishing house, to publish it in French, and I'm going to look for partners for the other languages. And that's how I met Zev Schazinger, who was at the time the boss of Z-Man Games. And I told him, do you want to be my partner for English? I want to do this game in French. And actually, he offered me to do the game worldwide with this company. So for me, obviously, Z-Man, was already a huge company with a huge, big reputation. So I was very happy of the proposition, and I set aside my project to do it, in French, and which was very cool because then there was a French edition by Philosophia, and then Sophie Gravel bought Z-Man, and so they continued publishing the games in bigger boxes, actually more beautiful boxes. This was Sophie Gravel's initiative to make it, more, better looking series. So I think it was a good choice not to do it at the time. But then when F2Z, so Philosophia and Z-Man was bought by Asmodee, I did one game with as the new group, the new team, which was Aerion. And we had great fun working together, and the game was very well received and it sold well. But nevertheless, they told me, maybe it's not the right place to do the series, but we can help you find a smaller publisher who, where the series would be more at home. And then I thought, about my old plan, and I felt it was the right time to go back to this plan, and this is how inPatience started. So it's actually a very old, it's a long story. It comes from years ago. It's as old as Onirim, basically, as the Oniverse.
Oh, nice. It's good to see it come back then. Was the name always supposed to be inPatience, and is there a meaning behind it? Because inPatience does mean something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like the concept because actually, the solitaire game, we see it now. It's in, there's a big trend. So they obviously now the patience that maybe 10 years ago we considered, a game for grandmothers, to play. It's now something really modern, and all the modern scene of board gamings, they like this. You have lots of solo versions of, non-solitaire games. And so it's in, and I like also because it says the contrary, it's impatient. So like, I want this to happen, but at the same time, no, it's the opposite. So I like this, you have to be patient to design a game. You have to be really patient because you have to do loads of prototypes and play test. And so I like the, the wordplay and basically the contradiction within it, I think it's,
That's pretty cool. I like to continue on one of those topics because you just said nowadays solo modes and solo games are quite in fashion and everyone likes it. I love them and it's a big selling point. But when Onirim, the first edition, first came out, there was not that many solo games in the market or even games with solo modes. So what drew you to designing solo games.
There were very little solo modes. Was really an exception. I mean, you had Uwe Rosenberg in his Agricola and stuff. There was rules for one player, but it was more beat your best score type. And real solitaire games, you could play some cooperative games solo, but it was not planned. You could, it was, for instance, Lord of the Rings by Rainer Knizia. It was a 2 to 5 player game, so I played it a lot solo, but I just played it two-handed. Pandemic also at that time was a pure cooperative from 2 to 4 or 5, 4, I think. So yeah, what brought me to this, also this is quite, when I was a kid, I loved those games, choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
So it was not really a game. I mean, it was a book and a game. And then when I started, I played Magic in competition for some years. And at that time, we did not have all those Magic online possibility. I think now somebody who wants to play competitively, he can, register on Magic Online and play all day long and test all the decks. And in my days, it was not possible. So I trained a lot with other players here in Brussels, but also sometimes I just wanted to check something. And so I played two-handed Magic, which is not very easy because you have bluffing, you don't know what the other one has in hand. So I had, I always thought, okay, this is the deck I'm playing, and the guy plays perfectly. He knows what to counter, he knows what to do, and let's see if it works. So, and it was somehow fun already to do it. Then came Lord of the Rings, the Rainer Knizia game. And so I also played this one solitaire because I wanted to beat it. We just were, we were crushed by this game with my group of players. I was like, we can never win. And someone else said, okay, that's okay. I'm going to spend the evening, and try to figure it out. And it was really fun to do. So also this was more testing it. So it was not that I thought, okay. And then I realized it's so fun to play. And then being abroad a lot with, for my job as opera singer, I was not all the time with my friends. And so I started, taking interest. I started with old patients, actually. I bought some books with those old patients. I was like, wow, but this is so boring. We should be able to do better today. And so this is how I started actually, designing Onirim. It was for me, actually. I wanted, to have patients, modern patients to have with me.
Was Onirim or Onirim? What's the right pronunciation?
Depending on your language.
Okay, fair enough. So was Onirim the first design? It was the first. You said it was good, but was it your first solo design, or had you tried some different ones that you didn't like as much?
No, this was the first.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And the 2-player co-op, where did that come from?
It did not, to be honest, it did not start as a 2-player co-op. It started really as a pure solitaire. But then it came from basically what I had done with Lord of the Rings or Pandemic. Those were cooperative games I played solo, and then I thought maybe there was a possibility to have a good 2-player version. And then I tested, and this was not a must. I did not think I have to do it, I will sell more, or it was just, let's see if it works. And I thought it worked. So so I kept it. It's not an add-on, and it came after, but it's not, it's obviously my opinion, I'm obviously biased, but it's not something that I forced or that was forced upon me. It's not the publisher that told me, listen, I'm not publishing a 1-player game, but if you make me a 2-player, then the version, maybe I can do it. No, I mean, I really tried, I was curious to see if it would work, and I was happy the tests were good. So I kept it, and
I'm glad you did, because although I'm a big solo player, I actually play all the Onirim series as a 2-player co-op mostly. I just like it a lot. Me and my girlfriend, the Onirim, Stellarion, we played those ones the most co-op, and they are very fun. So I'm glad you did it and you keep doing it.
That's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah, I know most people play it solo, but I actually really enjoy the 2-player co-op. Both is good.
That's cool. No, I'm happy to hear it, because actually, over the years, I started to really actually very fast, on those 2-player version. For me, they are really important. And actually, I have removed some of the Oniverse games from the series because they had not a satisfying two-player version. So it is important for me, that it plays well two version. It's not, maybe they will come back as a special, one player. It's not that they were, I was happy with the one player version, but since at a certain point they did not have a two-player, I thought I don't want the Oniverse series to have some games playable 1-2, some not, or worse, some games playable 1-2 with good two-player version, and then some with really, average or uninteresting two-player version. So this is how important it is actually to have.
And I think it's a wise choice. Nobody wants to be confused when buying the game, for example, thinking, oh, it's going to be working in 2, and then you get it and it doesn't work. Exactly. I see that. Cool. So then I think I read a while ago, you say you start with the solo mode and then think about the two-player, or do you just from the get-go start thinking, okay, this is how it would work with solo, this is how it would work with 2 players?
Usually I think it's because of my playtesting method. I want to test it alone a lot to be sure that it's solid, and I'm really not obviously you are always biased when it's your game, and there are always stuff you don't see, but still I don't think I'm an easy audience, so I get bored quickly, so I'm quite harsh towards my design. And once I am quite enjoying the game, then I can start having it play tested by other people. And at this point, it's also important to have a 2-player version. So to answer your question, usually I start with the 1 player, because this is how I really push, the game and see how it can crack and not work that well anymore. So I concentrate on the 1 player, because this is the one I can really be harsh on it. And because I know it also, so I realize it happens sometimes when, both can happen when you make friends or people you don't know playtest the game. They can either be really harsh on it, which is good because they don't know the system. So if there is something that's not really clear, they did not have time to get used to it, which is great, because they immediately are like, what is this? Why is this? And you got used to it. So and then you say, oh yeah, actually it doesn't make that much sense. But the other way around, it can also happen, because everything is new, they just take it, as it is. And, and then you think, oh, okay, so you can get very harsh comments, which are good, and you can get also just, oh, yeah, that's nice, which is good for your ego, and it pushes you forward, but maybe it's not always that useful. So this is also why I try to have, a more advanced version before making it playtest.
Very interesting. And now regarding theme and mechanics, which do you start with? Do you think, okay, now I want to do, for example, an aerospace-like one, like this for Aerion, or do you go, I want to do like a card management, hand management? How do you start?
It depends. For instance, Onirim, Aerion, they really started with the theme. I wanted to tell this story, and then I tried to find the mechanism that would tell the story. Other games, I started with the mechanism. For instance, Aerion, it was really, I want a dice game where you have to have combinations, but no free rerolls, because usually dice game where you have to do a combinations, you get a certain amount of rerolls, because otherwise it's very random. And this one, I wanted to have no free rerolls, but you have to discard precisely the resources you need to have with the rolls to reroll, to do something, really twisted and rather mean, because, it's like, So, and then the theme came afterwards. But what is interesting with theme, this happened with Aerion, this happened with Nautilion. The base game, it's the mechanic that is there first. I develop it, then I think, okay, what could work with this? And then I have the theme. But what is interesting is that the expansions, the theme helps a lot to get them. Basically, the theme starts calling for, oh, it would be cool in this universe, in this setting, to have this and this. So I don't have, I think, any examples of my games where I had basic games plus expansions, and then I thought, okay, which team is going to fit all this? Sometimes I have mechanism first, but only for the base game. And then once I have it, then it develops. So it's still a dialogue. It's not just, I have a mechanic and I paste on whatever, will work on this.
That's great. Continuing on expansions, because every game in the series comes with multiple expansions. But if I remember correctly, Onirim and was it Aerion? No, it was some other game came with additional expansions like promo packs.
Yeah.
Are those going to be republished in inPatience?
We are thinking about a way of making them available. Either I know that there are mixed feelings about those, about the fact that, not about the expansions from a mechanical point of view, but the availability of it. And I understand, I mean, it's not an easy matter, because obviously I understand publishers already before being a publisher myself. I understood this appeal of having promo, and when I was going, for instance, to Essen, and I brought some goodies, I was happy to have something special that I could grab from there. But at the same time, when you like a game, why shouldn't you be able to get easy access to all the components without having either to go to a fair, because not everybody can have the time or the logistics or the money to go there, and why should you necessarily order, especially if the publisher is in one continent, and then you have to pay very so I don't, we are thinking about possibilities. It will probably not immediately, but we
perhaps
we did not forget. We read the comments about people asking if those, it's 3 expansions. It's 2 for Onirim and 1 for Sylvian. And we didn't do it for the other games of the series, at Philosophia and Z-Man, and I don't plan to have them for the other releases of I will see what I do with what has been done, and I will not add more frustration
into the fire.
The fans, not having, so there will not be unavailable products in the future.
So my next question is about Stellarion, the new game.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit of how it will work?
Yes, actually, when I started the Oniverse series, I was very clear about one point. I wanted each game to have a unique mechanism, not to have, and don't get me wrong, it's not a criticism, but Carcassonne, each box of Carcassonne, it's Carcassonne, it's the same game. Some add little twists. Some are just plain expansions. You cannot play them without having the base game. And some, they did the series, those, in different continents and different, it's basically the same game with little twists, sometimes very interesting twists. I'm not saying it's bad or, it's not as good, but, but it's basically the same mechanism. And I was absolutely clear in the Oniverse, it was never going to be the same game. And it is the case here also. But it is also the only case where I really got inspired by another design so it is a completely different design, but still it is, I would say, somehow a twin brother of Aerion. Because I told you, Aerion, my first idea was a dice game where you have to do combinations, you have no free rerolls, you have to discard a resource, to reroll and maybe get another resource. Okay, this is the basic. When I was developing Aerion, I realized the cards could not be dealt randomly. So I could not have one big deck of resource cards and then reveal 6, and then say, okay, whatever. Because then the combinations would be very random, and also what you would get into display. And this could completely break the game and make it sometimes too much random, because you have the randomness of the dice. And then having the randomness of the cards would be too much. So I decided very early in the process, almost immediately, that this was not a big research. It was very clear from the beginning. I have to have separate decks. And the contents of each deck. So obviously, even if it's a small deck, there is randomness, but it's extremely controlled. When you have 8 cards and 2 copies, 4 cards 2 times in a deck of 8 cards, you will have randomness, but it's extremely controlled. And I realized in the playtests that the mechanic heart of the game was still this dilemma. You have to reroll, you have to discard stuff that you're aiming for. But another layer was added that I did not plan, is the deck management aspect. Because you had those 6 decks, and you knew the contents of each one, because also I think I made it on the back of the cards. It was important that you see right away, oh, in this deck I have this card. So if I discard this card, this is what could come yet. So, and because of all this, another layer of strategy came. What was really, I don't have another word to describe it, because I never saw it in another game. It's deck management. You have several decks and you have to manage those and the contents of those and what you can have. And so Aerion is a dice game. It is still, it was the base, but also you have this layer of deck management, because you have to decide which to discard, not only because you don't need this card, but also because you want another card to maybe appear on it. And I found this interesting, and I thought, okay, can we push this mechanic, removing the dice and just having pure deck management? So this is why I'm saying it's obviously not at all the same game as Aerion, but they have this strong element in common. And so Stellarion, you have 8 decks instead of 6. You have 6 decks in Aerion. In Stellarion, you have 8, and you have no dice. You can only play with the cards that are on top of each of the 8 decks. Okay. And you try either to have the 4 cards you need to get, a voyage into space. Okay. But if you don't have them, you can discard pair of cards that share, a type, and then you trigger an effect. Okay. And this effect, there are 4 different effects, because there are 4 types of cards. And this will help you. You will try with those effects to get the cards you need, to get the voyages that you need. So this is it. So it's Aerion without dice, and concentrating on the deck management element.
Sounds very interesting. And I assume you already have the mini expansions planned?
Yes, yeah. Actually, just so we are clear about the timeline. Actually, I just got the final factory approved copy. So it's you have 4 expansions. Actually, the box are being produced as we speak.
Great. So you have one there that you can show us?
Yeah, I have one there. Wait a minute. I will just get it.
Sure.
So yeah, so this is it. So this is an MPC. So basically, this is a factory produced. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the mini expansions that they have, how they shake up the system?
Yeah, I can. But one of the most important elements is this is the first Oniverse games that has a board. So because for the little figure, I tried different combinations in the previous games. In Aerion, you had the Hellkite moving from one card to another, blocking some stuff. In Nautilion, it was a similar system, but it was triggering special effects each turn. In Castellion, you had to put the figurine in the and actually in Castellion, we tried lots of different things. Okay. Where I wanted to offer a lot of different varieties for the figure, but one of those was to put it into your castle, blocking stuff around. And in this one, I made a board. So we have a board. It's this is where the figurine moves, and there are specific rules, for this figurine. Then you have basically extra cards that either allow you to trigger more effects, or or force you to wait for certain type of the black holes. You need a certain amount of black holes to trigger a big effect, but they block you. So I pushed this deck management aspect to the limit. Then there is one where you have new powers that improve the powers you have, but you have more conditions. You have to have specific cards on display that contradicts what you need for the Voyagers, because the Voyagers, you need different cards. In this expansion, you need the same. So you have to combine contradictory goals to have it. So basically, this is but all those expansion, they circle around this deck management idea. I really wanted to push it for this game at the maximum.
So you said the game is in production. When is the release date for it?
It will depend on shipping.
Okay.
It should be ready within the next couple of weeks, and then I think shipping is about 2 months. And yeah, but I suppose in the fall it should be in May, June now. So it's in the fall it should be available.
Great. Will you guys be at Essen this year?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It will be the first time for inPatience. We will be at Essen. Yeah.
That's great. And I guess you'll have the whole Oniverse series there.
Yes.
That's
yes.
fantastic. What else is inPatience working on?
inPatience, we are very excited. We are now working on a project that is not an inPatience game, and it's not an inPatience, not an Oniverse game, and not a Shadi Torbey game. It's a game from another designer. I am very excited. We have been working for some time on it. It's a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players. So it will be mostly a card game, and we will tell a little bit more about it. We are very, very happy about this. And we already signed also another game by a famous team of designers. And this will be a little bit later. And we are also working now on elaborating this. For the first game I was talking to you about, the art is on the way. So we already, so this is quite an advanced project. We hope to release it at the beginning of next year, 23. Okay. So the other project I'm telling you about probably will be 24. So this is, and obviously we have also the other Oniverse series, games of the series that we plan to publish. We plan in an ideal world, we would like to publish 1 Oniverse game each year and 1 game that is not an Oniverse and that is not designed by me each year. So this would be, in an ideal world, but obviously we know making plans, in this, in this environment, also with the problem in logistics and manufacturing the games, it's really hard to tell, this is what we will do, but this is what we want to do,
Of course. Yeah. I see. Wow, that's great. So one question that I have to ask, because otherwise Oniverse fans get mad. What's the future of Aerion?
It's a very, very clear future for Aerion, actually. It is not the next. So Stellarion is the next game, but it is, as I said, it is done. The bugs are being they are not even being fabricated now. They are fabricated. They are being assembled as we speak. So it's really late in the process. So we are now finalizing the next game in the series. So we are working on the art, finalizing the art, redacting the rules, modifying. So this is really, really advanced. And this, if everything goes as planned, is for next year, exactly 1 year, we plan. And then the one after this is Aerion.
That's great to hear.
And this also, we are already, I'm working on it. I have already some sketches for the art by Elise. So because we tend, we want sometimes to do 2 projects in parallel, we leave one, on the back burner, but we still work a little bit on it, and then we push the other one. So the one we are now pushing is the next one in the series. And Aerion, we are already, a lot of new expansions have been developed for this one. So we really want to give it, the treatment that Onirim got, that the 2nd edition of Aerion will be really an expanded one, not just reprint what was there. And so now we will also have new art for this one, but obviously the basic mechanics stay the same. So
fantastic. I think that's great to hear. It's been long out of print and people keep trying to find it.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, one extra question. Onirim, the mobile app, was really famous and a lot of people played there. Do you have any intent of doing the same for the other games?
This is a very, very hard question, because in my experience as a player, when I played a lot a game on an app, 2 things happened. Either I really fell in love with it and then I bought a copy. And it even happened with games I had in my collection. I played them and then I was like, yeah, okay, I don't need the physical copy anymore. And these were multiplayer games, so and for a solitaire game, I still don't know. I cannot evaluate the impact because I was not the publisher at the time when the app came out for Onirim. So I don't know in which extent it makes the people want to play it more physically or less. And I am a big fan of the playing physically. There is something extremely relaxing, with going away from screens. It's not that I don't like video games or that I don't like apps. There are some are really cool to play and really addictive. But still, it's like I love TV series and movies. It's not like I say, oh no, I only read books, look at my library, behind me, TV is stupid and movies. No, I love them, but there are moments where it's just cool to sit in a chair with a good book, and to get away from screens. And Onirim, I did it more than 10 years ago, but obviously, you already had so many video games out there and so many options. So, and it was this pleasure to go away from those screens.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. If I feel that the app is still, taking us by the hand and telling us, play it on the table, be in the real world, feel the weight on the paper, on the cardboard, this is, then yeah, why not? Apps are cool. It's a cool way. And sometimes you're on the subway, or you're traveling, you cannot, put out a game. It's cool to have the app for it. But if I feel it's more like, isolating people from, the material stuff, then maybe I will not do that. I am still planning to keep the app up, on the store. And I read some stuff about people not being happy that it doesn't display that well anymore. I will try to see if we can fix that. So I will not erase it because I think it's a very nice app, and I think the developers did a nice job on it. So I don't want to make it disappear. Whether I will do it for the other games or not, today I have no idea.
Sure, fair enough.
Good idea or not.
That's fair. Do you plan all your retail releases, or not retail release, physical releases to be direct to retail, or are you considering also crowdfunding for some projects?
For the moment, I am not considering crowdfunding. I have nothing against it. I participated in some. I bought some games, in crowdfunding. So it's not a philosophical opposition.
Sure.
But I don't know. I like going to stores, having the possibility of playing the game. I think it's really useful if someday I have a project that would be complicated to do without financially. Then I think it's a good way. Will I do like some publishers, go for it because it's just more money? You cut everybody, you cut the distributor, you cut the stores. I don't know. As I said, I like to go to stores, and
it's the physical component again that you were talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. It's something. It makes sense also, in the whole philosophy. So I don't see inPatience becoming a pure crowdfunding company in the upcoming years. I would be surprised. I'm not saying I will never do it, because maybe I get a prototype of something that is amazing, but that needs that many components and so expensive that nobody will tell me, yeah, we are going to, no distributor will be happy, or no shop will be happy, because at a certain point it's not interesting financially. Then it's a good tool to have.
Great. All right. One last question about the Oniverse.
Yeah.
Do you see like a number of entries in the Oniverse, or is it, while I still have ideas and cool mechanics, I'll keep doing it?
It's very clear. Actually, you will see it when you get when you open the box of Stellarion. Actually, we have done. I don't know if you remembered, but Philosophia had done a small catalog, for the first three of the games with the presentations. So I think it was a great idea to do it, and so we did the same for the inPatience game, and we actually already announced in this catalog what is coming for the Oniverse. So so you will see exactly how many games we have still planned in the series and what they are. And I would say this will be it, at least in this format, and you know, this player count and this size box, and you know, this it's not that I don't have ideas. Actually, I told you at the beginning of this interview, there have been some games that have been removed from the series. So will they come back, you know, in a special, as a special form, just for one player, you know, in the Oniverse? Will it be like a parallel Oniverse? I don't know. But I think it's also good when the sagas, and I'm thinking about some movies or TV series. As I told you, I like, you know, TV series and movies. It's not just books. And we have all experienced this. You have TV series, they just go on, and they are cool, actually. It's not that you think they milk the cow. They are doing a good job, but you know that they are halfway improvising each season what they want to do. And the other ones, you have the feeling from the beginning, they knew exactly where they wanted to go, you know, and then it ends. And then maybe they do a spin-off, maybe, you know, they take, you know, and what I did not want to do with this, and then obviously you have the bad situations where they go on and on and on, and it becomes boring after some season. You think, okay, they did not have any idea, but they just want to, you know, push it as much as they can. And this is really what I did not want to do with the Oniverse. So I preferred to have, you know, one arc that will end after X games. You will soon know how many, you know, and yeah, I think it's better, and it's not excluded. As I said, we have some projects on the side, but I don't expect them to, you know, appear exactly in the same form that what we have already.
Let's see. All right. A bit sad, but I'm looking forward for those side projects to see if they only work solo. That's also fine by me. I want to try them all.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's an inPatience game, it will be. Sorry, I mean, yeah, maybe I did not explain this. Maybe it's quite obvious. I mean, all games by inPatience will be playable solo, but not all will be only solitaire.
Sure.
So this is so this is the idea. So yeah.
Very nice. All right. I think I'm out of questions. Is there anything you want to say? Some parting words?
Thank you for your time and for the interview.
Sure. Thanks. I had a really great time, and see you another day.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.